once I got to know him and, you know, we became friends first, and then we developed this bond. We both understood where we were at that time in our lives, and we both knew nobody else understood exactly how we felt. So sitting there, being handcuffed to a bench, and, you know, I do remember feeling the comfort of someone caring about you enough that, you know, they just wanted to make it okay and couldn't believe that we were in this situation and how did this happen.
So I go to a window, and as they saw me, the person who was in charge out there or whatever, saw me appear at the window. I guess that was their cue. And they released like hundreds of doves, white doves.
Oh my God, I can't breathe.
Right, and I was like,
oh my God. Did it work? Did you go back with him?
No.
Crying a lot. She was a mess. Probably what was going through her mind is her career flashing before her eyes.
And later, enough's enough.
I just kind of hit the wall and was just like, I can't do this anymore.
So, what does J.Lo have to say all these years after her breakup from Diddy? One thing's for sure, Diddy's bad luck keeps piling on as the bombshell might have more to say about the 1999 shooting fiasco. Jennifer Lopez and Diddy were all over the news back when news of their relationship broke in 1999, all the way until their relationship came crashing down after the two got arrested after a club shooting. And now, following Homeland Security raiding the rapper's house back in March, people are wondering what J.Lo might know. Diddy's case has been making a lot of noise, with the raid getting a lot of people talking. Following the incident, his ex Misa Hylton, who has 2 sons with the rapper, called the overzealous and overtly militarized force used on her children unnecessary. As sexual allegations against the rapper continue to stack up, people are taking a look back at his time with J.Lo and her implications that he manhandled her during their 18 months together. Seeing as ex Cassie Ventura said that he had abused and raped her multiple times over the course of their relationship, that's not too hard to believe.
Listen, that girl went through some tumultuous shit that she never thought that she would ever have to go through being in the music business. Do you understand that?
With Puffy now being investigated for sex trafficking, it's highly likely that his past might be coming back to haunt him, namely the 1999 shooting that involved a lot of messy stuff, with Diddy allegedly paying people to give false testimonies to get off scot-free. Former FBI agent Bobby Chacon thinks the case, despite it being over 20 years old, could become a cornerstone for the current investigation.
Sometimes with time, with the passage of time, people aren't as intimidated and they're not as threatened, and they get away from the person who is the threat, and they feel more forthcoming to testify or to give statements in lieu of testimony.
Chacon also stated that even if it hasn't been explicitly said that Diddy is the center of the ongoing HSI investigation, it's a reasonable inference to say he's the main subject. This didn't occur in a vacuum. There's a long history here.
Absolutely. I mean, look, this didn't occur in a vacuum. There's a long history here of people that work for Diddy or were close to Diddy alleging sexual abuse, gun trafficking, drugs, violence. This is a long body of information of more than one person, multiple people who are unrelated to each other, who make similar allegations of this type of conduct being conducted by him, not by somebody else, but by him, both in civil suits and in criminal trials.
He said that Cassie's lawsuit being settled so quickly means that the rapper had something to hide, and it might have even snowballed the federal investigation. But what really got things going was producer Rodney Jones's 74-page lawsuit against Diddy, which also named Jennifer Lopez in regards to the 1999 shooting fiasco. The lawsuit read that Diddy had threatened Jones and shown him his guns, while speaking of instances where he got away with shooting people. One example was the club shooting involving J.Lo back then, and Jones stated that the singer carried the gun into the club for him and passed it to him when the fight broke out.
According to police reports, the couple jumped into the backseat of his SUV. Puffy's driver and his bodyguard were in front. Officers arrived as the SUV pulled away. They ordered the driver to stop. Instead, he swerved around a patrol car and led cops on an 11-block chase.
This means that Jennifer Lopez was carrying an illegal firearm. At the time, she was only kept in custody for 14 hours, after which all charges against her were dropped. But what does the case being revisited years later mean for her? Could she be brought in as a witness? Chokan thinks it's probably happening.
It's absolutely possible, and I would say you would have to. Now she may, divorce herself of the whole thing and say, no, I don't remember, I wasn't there, it never happened. But yeah, she's accused of not only carrying the gun into the club for Diddy, but then once the altercation happened, handing Diddy the gun that he then used in the shooting, allegedly. So she would certainly be on the witness list to talk to, take a statement from her, see what her recollection is, see what her attitude is. And yeah, she'd be somebody that they would be very interested in speaking with.
So what happened during the infamous fight? Well, the fight broke out on December 27th, 1999 at 2:55 a.m. between three people, Diddy, Scar and rapper Shine at Club New York. The fight ended with 3 people getting shot and J.Lo and Diddy both getting arrested.
Wolf told me that he's telling Puff, yo, to stay there. Man, stay in the Hamptons, you with your girl, man. Y'all finna go on a trip. Puff just had to come. Everybody goes there. Wolf, couple other security personnel. Puff shows up with Jennifer. Then Shine come in. They beefing with some dudes who had a certain part of the bar. So when Puff comes, he takes over the bar and put bottles, lines it up with bottles as he doing. So the dude came over to Puff and said, nigga, we got money, and threw the money in Puff's face. And that's when the shit broke out.
What followed was a highly publicized trial with Diddy coming out mostly unscathed. Shine, however, faced some hefty charges with 3 counts of attempted murder and criminal possession of a weapon. This is despite many people alleging it was Diddy who was directly involved in the shooting. This allegation is in line with Rodney Jones's claims about Diddy bragging about getting away with shootings. But there are claims from people even closer to Diddy, namely his bodyguard Gene Deal and Shine himself. Both have said that Diddy paid people to make sure Shine went to jail. Here's the full story. Someone approached the rapper with a deal. They get 20 grand from each of the 3 people involved in the shooting, and everyone walks away with 0 charges. According to Gene, they had someone on the jury, so it was a solid deal. So how did Shine end up behind bars for 10 years?
Wolf, Shine, and Puff. And Shine may notice they came to Shine and they asked Shine for 20 racks because they had somebody that was going to make sure all of them got off. The reason they got off was people was coming to Bad Boy Security, Paul and other people, and said that they were there. So they were giving them the DA's and the lawyer's card and tell them to go make a statement. The reason they got off was people was coming to Bad Boy Security, Paul and other people, and said that they were there. So they were giving them the DA's and the lawyer's card and tell them to go make a statement. And some of those people who were making statements, they was making statements against Shine. Yo, bro, listen to me. Y'all hearing it from me, but Shine said it himself in his interview. You supposed to be my brother, and you got people testifying against me?
And Shine said it himself in an interview with John Norris.
You know, justice wasn't served here, and that somebody turned his back on you.
It's not a matter of, turning your back on me. Like, how do you call a witness to testify against your comrade?
Of course, Diddy refuted these claims and said that he hadn't forced anyone to say anything.
Not force anybody or tell anybody to say anything that would damage or hurt Shine's case. I just wouldn't do that. That would not be my intent whatsoever. And that's all I'm really going to say about the matter, not to get into any negative back and forth. Because y'all know me over the years on MTV News being involved in certain things. Right now, my life is positive, and I'm going to keep it like that.
But get this. Shine's lawyers once worked with Bad Boy Records, meaning they were getting paid by Diddy. Gene also said that Diddy hated Shine, way before the shooting ever happened.
Me and Puff stood in front of Trump Towers when he had Shine meet him. Shine got off the tour bus. Puff told me, yo, Gene, don't let nobody take a picture with this nigga. He said, I hate this motherfucker.
But he had something different to say about Jennifer Lopez's involvement in the shooting. He said that he didn't think that she would ever carry a gun for Diddy.
Even though they say Jenny from the block, she didn't rock like that, bro. For real, for real. I've been around Miss Lopez a few times, more than a few times. You understand what I'm saying? She did not rock like that. She don't get down like that, bro. Not at all. She wouldn't be carrying no gun for no puffy. Not at all. I know that. Yo, I would bet anything on that one, bro. That's right there. That's some internet bullshit.
But he still thinks that the case was bogus. He said that the two rappers had separate lawyers, and Diddy didn't hesitate to throw his friend under the bus to save himself, because if the case had been made without witnesses, then they all would have gone to jail.
When Puff liked their story, what they saw, he gave it to their lawyer. Their lawyer then sent them to the DA's office, and those people testified against Sean. They had the same charges. So they separated lawyers. They had separate lawyers, and everything went on Sean because Diddy found the witness against Sean. I think if Sean did time and they had the same case, if they had the same case and Diddy wouldn't have found those witnesses against Sean, they all would have went to jail.
Of course, it's true that J.Lo would still get out of it, only the mania around her might have been even worse than it was. And it was already bad to begin with.
There were guns, there was a shooting, there was a car chase. And Jennifer Lopez was prominently part of this picture. And she suddenly looked like a gangsta.
She wasn't in trouble for anything, but you couldn't get away from the media coverage of how she was involved in the situation.
The bad press KO'd a relationship already on the ropes.
Even if the two had been in love and were tight, they were fighting a big monster, and the monster was his charges and the paparazzi following them. It was getting on her nerves.
It's like, okay, I was in a club, somebody fired some guns, I didn't do anything. Now, I got a great record. Judge me on that.
The case reopening would mean a lot of attention on her, no matter how much she tries to remove herself from the situation. That said, it doesn't mean their relationship wasn't tumultuous as it was, and Diddy was less than faithful during his time with the singer. His former bodyguard recounted a time when he cheated on her after she had put together a big day out and party for him.
What's his name? Slam had set it up because Jennifer went upstairs. And Puff said, yo, Gene, watch the door. Don't let nobody come through the door. And I said, all right. And Slam set it up. And I wanted to say it was Korean, but I'm not sure it was her. But it was supposed to be somebody that was either up to her level in fellatios, or it was her. I'm not sure. And while Jennifer was upstairs, he was down there getting a fellatio from her.
Ouch. And while the rapper only had good things to say about his former girlfriend, their relationship breaking down served as a way for her romance with backup dancer Chris Judd to blossom.
Due to my problems, it was starting to hurt her. I think she was agreeing. I think her management was agreeing. I think her family was agreeing. Best thing is try to let her do her thing.
On Valentine's Day 2001, Puffy and Jennifer announced their split.
She's going a separate way, and this is a time when I ain't wanting her to go a separate way, and it's like I'm meeting her. It's like a tragedy that it ain't worked out. She's somebody that I'll always love, no matter if she's married with 20 children. I'll always love her.
Jennifer and Chris met on the set of Love Don't Cost a Thing. Puffy was in and out, and Chris and Jennifer caught each other's eyes, and there was definite chemistry.
It was great because, we're on the same wavelength. He understands me.
Coming back to Club New York, Gene Deal thinks that even a witness coming out to say that it was Diddy that shot at her and not Shine was useless now because the case had already closed.
The way I feel about that, the case is closed, bro. It can't be no double jeopardy. It can't be no retrial because they already had a trial and a man was convicted for her injuries. A man already did time for her injuries. You understand? If they would have to go back and see that if there was ballistic ballistic tests done on Jennifer Lopez, on Puffy, God bless the dead, on Wolf? Did they do ballistic tests? And then see if they did ballistic tests and Puff had gunpowder on him, you know what I'm saying? Why didn't the police go through with charging him?
He said that there wouldn't be any results because Diddy's lawyers would just pin the crime onto his now deceased bodyguard, Anthony Wolf Jones. This is because there had been 4 people in the car when the police tracked down Diddy's car, including J.Lo. Since the gun wasn't on Diddy, the crime can't be traced back to him, but Chokun thinks there's a way for the feds to break open the case.
Well, it would take a different look at it. So, in other words, he was acquitted on the state murder charges. Now, federal charges can be different. You can have RICO, you can have a continuing criminal enterprise, you can have, so the underlying acts, the predicate acts, if we used to call them when I worked RICO cases, a RICO predicate act could be something like that 1999 case, and you can use it as a predicate act. You can bring it up. When I worked cold cases of this type.
Until something happens, Jennifer Lopez is doing all she can to make sure she stays away from Sean Combs. Sources have even said that she's hudders when she thinks of her messy relationship with him, and that she's horrified by all of the accusations.
I'm fortunate to be alive.
When one of the victims took the stand and claimed that she had seen Puffy with a gun that night, Puffy started to believe he could lose the case.
I was shot in my face, and I never expected to be a part of such a reckless act of violence.
When it's all over, whenever that is, whatever happens, it'll be a very happy day once it's not something we have to think about.
But will she be able to keep her name out of everyone's mouths? Only time will tell. That's all for today. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments below. For more updates, hit the bell icon.